Cycles were always like the perfect balance between man and machine because it's like a 50-50.
You're in control.
Yeah, it's what's 50% you. You're not like protected by the car. It's not as dependent on what the car does. I mean, you can get beat by another bike, but 9 out of 10 times you're getting beat by another rider. You're not getting beat by another car. You know what I mean?
Word. So the Mint 400.
The Mint 400. What do you know about the Mint 400 in the last 24 hours of crash course learning it? Let's see how you did your homework.
So, I mean, I learned about it was super popular like in the 70s or 60s. I don't even remember the time frame, but it was like super popular. And then I did see Free and Loading in Las Vegas because that was like a cult classic.
Yeah.
So there was like a scene where they're like in the Mint 400 race. Then they discontinued it for like 20 years. And then they brought it back in 2008, right?
It was like you said, like a cult classic. I think the actual race was like a cult classic type thing. And in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, that was what they were going to report on. Yeah. I think it was like early 70s or something like that. The time frame of the movie was 1971. The actual race started in 1968.
1968, and it lasted till like the 80s or what?
Yeah, like late 80s. I think it went into the 90s and then 99. And for 20 years, it's just been... They finally brought it back, though. Motorcycles have only been back for a couple of years.
So it was only because I also saw that... So they do motorcycles, but they also do like big Jeeps and like big races.
It's primarily a truck race. So the trucks are the ones like the off-road, I forget what they are. Those off-road style trucks that jump and do all that off-road stuff is primarily like the like Robbie Gordon. I don't know if you know who that is.
No.
I think he's Jeff Gordon's cousin, but he made those trucks famous, champion trucks, I think they call them. But that's primarily, they do the 400 miles. Motorcycles do 300 miles.
So it's 300 miles. So the Mint 400 or 300, I guess. So you guys going to be racing 100 miles each.
So the way it came about was my buddy Vinny. He's in Colorado. He's a Colorado firefighter, and just we knew each other from Northern California. He worked at Umigo indoor go-kart racing. So that's how I know him, was just from Instagram. And I saw that he was getting ready to do this. He did a lot of these outdoor national hare scrambles and stuff like that. And I was following him. I'm like, man, that's really cool. Like, I'd like to do that one day. So I was following him as he was getting ready to do it in March. With the whole COVID thing, it ended up getting pushed back. My initial thought was, well, I'll let him do it, and then I'll gather all his information and go do it like the next year or whatever, go do it with him. And they pushed it back. And then he's all, dude, I don't know what I'm thinking, trying to Ironman this thing. So we built a team.
So he wanted to run the whole race himself, the 300
He was going to run the 300 miles himself.
There's people that do that?
Yeah. The guy that won it, well, I think it was a two-man team that won it last year. It took 5 hours. But there are people that Ironman this thing.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm not conditioned for that anymore, man. I got kids. There's no way I'm making a 5-hour race out of that. But everybody that we're doing, so it's Vinny's going to run it. I'm going to run it. And then we're kind of sandbagging this one a little bit because previously we had a race team, a supercross race team, and this kid Robert Knopf's raced for us. So I'm bringing him out for it.
I saw that when I was doing some research on the race, that 50% of the people don't make it.
Oh yeah, it's not a race against other people. It's a race against the track and the environment, and it's less about where you finish and if you finish.
Is there so what's like the price if you win this race?
I don't even know. I haven't even looked at it.
Oh, you guys are just
We're just doing it because it's like a bucket list race.
It's like running a marathon, like because I know there's people that run like 200-mile marathons, so they just do it to finish or to push themselves individually.
Yeah, we're doing it. I mean, there's a lot of reasons we're doing it. One, it is like a bucket list race. It's called the Great American Race. It's national exposure, It's just something to be a part of, but it's also a huge party. Like Wednesday night, Thursday night, all downtown Fremont streets blocked off. There's like 30,000 people.
So it's all in Vegas. So does it turn into those scenes like Free and Loading in Las Vegas?
Well, I don't think I can handle the drug use from that movie, but it's gonna be a party for sure. And we got a hotel right there.
Have you ever been to that one before? The Mint 400 race?
I have not.
Not even as an spectator?
Not even as a spectator. I wasn't even really that familiar with it, to be honest with you. Like, I knew it from the movie, and I knew it from Cycle News Magazine, which is just a weekly motocross magazine. And when it came out, it had a whole special on it, and I'd read about it. And you'd always catch some people that you knew that tried to do it, and most of them didn't finish.
And how do you guys started with, like, motocross or bikes and dirt racing, all that? Like,
How did we start?
How did you start?
Oh, how did I start? Well, you know my dad, Jay.
Yeah.
So he owned San Jose Yamaha back when I was in like high school. So I grew up like a spoiled brat, just riding dirt bikes, jet skis, all that stuff. But originally, I can remember back even before those days, I bugging him when I was like 6 years old trying to get a dirt bike. I don't know what my attraction to it was. I know that he used to race and ride way back in the day. And yeah, he came through with some dirt bikes, grew up riding motocross. He purchased the dealership. So then it just escalated from there. I was on motorcycles, and then I raced jet skis for about 4 or 5 years. Like 15 and 16, I went to the IGSBA World Finals.
Cause you used to live in Oregon, right?
I grew up in Oregon. I was with my mom, though. So I'd bounce back and forth. During the summers, I was with him, and we'd just be racing. But yeah, all my academic stuff was up in Oregon. Pops wasn't about academics. He's about racing and business. But
and then I saw that you were running like you did like some semi-pro racing. Can you tell us a little about that?
Yeah, when I got into after jet skiing, that had fallen apart. I honestly thought I was going to go pro racing jet skis, and I think we had a satellite team set up, and then they started regulating them all over California, the 2-strokes with the oil, and all of a sudden everything was just looking like it was going to go to 4-strokes, but nobody was familiar with those because if you put a 4-stroke motor in a jet ski at that time, it probably would have sank. Like they were super heavy, and now they have them all over the place. They figured it out, but it destroyed it at that time. Mm-hmm. So I kind of just went back to riding dirt bikes and working. Got into graphic design, stuff like that, and I really got into street bike racing. That's how that started, and it's a weird story, but we built a bike. And I go out there and I'm like just hammering down laps at Laguna Seca Raceway. And I come through and just completely wad the thing up. So Pops wasn't too happy about that.
Have you had any like major accidents on that?
I've had quite a few. Just look like I can't throw a football. My shoulder will come right out of the socket. I have no feeling in the bottom of my left foot. That was from a street crash though. I was clipped by a minivan. And yeah, that was pretty brutal. Fingers, countless times I've broken my arm. It's just part of it. It's kind of what I'm explaining to my kids now. Like my little son.
They want to race as well?
No, they want nothing to do with it. And that could be mom's influence a little bit because I'm not really sure. It's scarier now, to be honest with you. I mean, me and her kind of made that agreement, so to speak. So like
you're a parent now.
Well, yeah, you're looking at it from the other side of the plate now, but it's also like with motocross, when I was a kid, you were wearing the chest protector and you had all the protective gear. Now these kids that we brought up racing, and I'll get to that with the race team, but it's cool to wear none of that stuff because you can maneuver the bike better.
Yeah. So
these guys go down and it's like, of course you're going to get hurt. You have nothing protecting you. It's thinner than my T-shirt.
Because they're trying to be to do tricks or to
race, just be more agile on the bike. If you got a big old chunky piece of plastic on you, you can't maneuver around the bike as well. So it's cooler to do less, and the bikes are 10 times faster. So
it's just
that doesn't make any sense. So yeah, we have like a little recreation bike that we cruise around the neighborhood, but. My wife, she's not about getting these kids hurt. Neither am I. I'm not trying to, but I'm like, I kind of know that danger aspect is about it. So,
and how do you prepare? So going back to the Min 400, so you have to race. So you're gonna do 100 miles.
I'm gonna do 100 miles. I don't appreciate how you said that like that, but I'm gonna do 100 miles.
It's like you're gonna do 100 miles.
Yeah, I've seen you pick up tile, dude.
So, how do you prepare? Like, what's like the training or the strategy that you have? Because it's in December, so you still have about 4 or 5 months to get ready.
Yeah, so immediately when I signed on to do this, I went and had a hernia operation because that had been nagging me for like 3 or 4 years. So I got that out of the way in March. Kind of let that downtime go, and then in May, it's about cardio and just hanging on for dear life. So I'm running. I'm not trying to gain weight or anything like that. I'm still rocking the dad bod actually. But it's just cardio, man. I mean, you got to be able to just hold that thing wide open for probably 2 hours, I would assume.
And what happens if you like give up? And because it's 100 miles, you're in the middle of the desert. Like, what if you just can't keep going? Or
they have a tracker on you.
What's the plan? Like, how does that work? Is
there's a loop. Protocol? So the original event was from Las Vegas to South Lake Tahoe. So it's kind of like the Vegas to Reno event. You just went from A to B, and they would fire off like a rocket or start a fire or whatever, and you'd see it off in the distance, and the first one to the fire pit won. But now it's a dedicated loop, so it is kind of
More control,
more regulated now. That's probably how they were having to bring it back. So it's a 100-mile loop through the desert. You got a backpack on full of extra parts because you're going to get flat tires, stickers, things like that. We have to pay a pit crew to be out in the middle of nowhere at a checkpoint, kind of regulated by what these bikes can normally, the fuel consumption and stuff like that. And if there's a satellite or like a little chip on you on the bike, so that way if you wander off and go into the desert, they can track you. And if your bike dies out in the desert and you can't get it started or if you tap out, I have no idea what the regulation is for that.
Well, I'm pretty sure they have like drones or helicopters.
They've got helicopters out there. I know that. I'm sure there's rescue trucks. I have no doubt that they've got this figured out by now because there's got to be people just as green as we are getting into this, going out to do it.
And how do you, like, if somebody wants to join this race, like, let's say I wanted to start my own team and she's like, is it too late to join or you can still sign up?
Oh, you can still sign up. Absolutely.
And what do you need? Just like your own bikes?
Well, yeah, you go on the website, you do the racer registration. It'll tell you all the details, what class you want to enter based on the age, based on your experience, based on truck, bike, whatever you're trying to do. I think they have a vintage old bike class. I heard they were doing something else that was kind of crazy. I forgot what it was, though. Lamborghini's bringing something out there, some off-road vehicle out there to try.
Shit. So Lamborghini has bikes?
No, cars.
Oh, cars.
All
the cars.
The cars is the main draw. I think the bikes is just a part of it because of the nostalgia of the event.
And so you don't know what the price is. And is there? I know you told me you're gonna be going like on a Wednesday, so it's like a big week event.
It's just as much about being a part of the event as it is the actual race. The event portion of it is Wednesday. There's a parade. They have like an incredibly popular for the cars. They have like a tire changing thing, like a NASCAR pit stop type competition. But it's just a huge street party. You're going to know. We're bringing you out there.
Yeah.
It's going to be good.
Yeah, no. So you asked me, you want me to go document like the whole event, the experience, do like a documentary style video. And I'm excited because I was doing some research when you first told me about it, and then you sent me all those links and the history behind it. And it's just like, it's like Mad Max, but like, I don't know, just it gets me Mad Max vibes, but something I want to experience, like going out there and just having fun in the desert.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be that experience, and especially with you. I think we're going to be able to get you a media credential, so you'll be able to see a lot more of it than most. But yeah, it's wide open in the desert. I mean, it's just about as chaotic as a regulated event could be, really.
Are you taking your family?
More than likely, yeah. I kind of want the kids to see it. Like that whole time period I was talking about, racing jet skis and getting into the street bike racing, they weren't around for any of that. They just know me as Dad.
Yeah, this fool.
Yeah, this guy that's always talking about racing. I don't ever see him ride a bike, I want them to see it. So.
And what about the other members in your team? Like, so that they have any experience racing these kind of events?
Yeah, Vinny's been doing kind of more local races. Like I'll do a couple of them September, October down here in Southern California. But he's been doing them out in Colorado. They're called hare scrambles. It's kind of the similar style event, but smaller. Obviously, just regulated in your own state, different classes. I know he's been doing that, but to my knowledge, he doesn't really have like a huge racing resume. Firefighter, so I know he's in shape for this thing.
Yeah,
I'm not worried about that. But Robert Knopf's, what he brings to the table is the possibility of winning. We have to strategically put him in a spot, whether it's the first leg or the last leg or somewhere where he can carry the torch.
It's always, why is like the closer always at the end? Like they always have like the best racer go last, or is that a strategy?
I don't know. I'm really on the fence about the strategy because it's like, do you want to hand the fastest guy a deficit to go try to catch up?
Yeah. Or
do you want to hand him the opportunity? Do you want to not maybe even have him race if one of us doesn't complete our leg of it?
Yeah.
Or do you want him to hand us the lead and then he gets to sit there and watch us lose it? Like it's, I'm pretty confident we're going to run a good pace. Like I'm confident that I can, if I can get to where I need to be. But this kid's like next level. I mean, this dude was,
when's the last time you rode like a long distance race like this or something similar?
We used to do endurathons, but dude, we're talking like 15 years ago, San Jose Fairgrounds, like even further back than that. I did an endurance race on street bike with AFM. That was it, man. It's been over 10 years. I'm coming out of retirement for this thing. Like it's
like The Last Dance, the Michael Jordan documentary.
Yeah, well, that's where you come in. You got to make it look as good as that documentary, regardless of where we finish.
Nah, it should be cool. Imagine you guys win, bro. That should be hard. We get it all documented.
There's a lot more pressure on Nofty than he realizes, I think, because he could win it. The kid he raced. So the story with that guy is I ran a race team. Like I was inspired by Chad Reed, who is a professional motocross racer, one of the most famous world champions, supercross, motocross. Also one of my favorite guys growing up watching. And he got to the point where he'd been through a few of the factory teams and got tired of the corporate bullshit. So he bet on himself, put all his money into a race team, got a rig, got his sponsors, and went out and started winning races again. And I was like, fuck, dude, this guy just started a team and did it. Why the hell can't I do that? Well, obviously I don't carry the namesake that he does, but we went and created a privateer race team. And for people that aren't really in the know of how racing works, you got Chad Reed, James Stewart, Villapoto, Dungy, $1 million racers. And then you got the rest of the field that are lined up with them making like $200.
Yeah. Or even paying to just be
it
there.
Was costing us money. I would just let Nofty take the $200 because I'm like, you're the one with your life on the line out there, not me.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's such like just a gap between guys that are actually banging bars. Like I distinctively remember on our team, which was Pinstripe Moto X, is long dead by now, but I remember specifically in an LCQ, James Stewart went down and he was racing for JG Motorsports or something like that. The guys that own a NASCAR team, and the guy Joe Gibbs Racing, he owns the Redskins.
Yeah.
And I think he used to own the Redskins. Dan Snyder owns it.
Dan Snyder owns it.
Anyway, this bike.
Oh, the football team.
Huh?
The football
dude. Wow. You're going to have to edit that out, man. That's the Washington football team,
bro.
Oh,
football team.
Dude. I'm going to get cancel cultured before I even race this race. Yeah, so that bike was right next to us. All his NASCAR technologies right there. And just an example of that is there's a whole shot device on the front forks that holds the front down. So when you take off, it doesn't raise the front wheel.
Yeah.
These guys had like 2 of them. So we're sitting there ready. I go and I drop NOS because I'm the mechanic. I was doing everything for this fucking team. And I'm the mechanic. I go out there, we drop the thing. And they do theirs. You know, their mechanic does that. And I look over and the back of the bike drops. I'm like, fuck was that? And I look over and they sure as shit, they compressed the back of the bike too. So this bike it was coming out like a rocket.
Yeah.
Plus, God knows what was in the motor, NASCAR technology. We're looking at a stock 450.
And then like those bike builds, do you guys have to like do it yourselves?
Oh yeah, you're doing it all yourself. I mean, you could pay a mechanic.
So you say you're a mechanic of the team. So you could put like a whole bike together and you know like how everything works or what?
I know how it all works. I was never the guy to go into the motor. I could do everything else besides like the clutch or something like that. I never got into the pistons, doing top ends or anything like that. But
that's dope.
I was his. I mean that team like it started with an idea. We were down at the track. This dude Ralph Rangel had twin racers. His kids were twins and they were both pros.
Yeah.
He brought us on to kind of help with promotion, and then he was bringing along this kid Robert Knopfs, who was faster than those 2 kids. Just bringing him along because he's a cool dude, and had the opportunity to get Nofty a bike. And the next year, I was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna do it myself." So we went and I was raising money on sponsors, and I would go up and down from Northern California to LA, pick him up. We'd train for a couple days, then go to Anaheim 1, Phoenix, San Diego. We were all over the West Coast.
Okay.
Driving him as the mechanic, you know, you're getting it set up, getting the bike ready, getting the rider ready, making sure, you know, I mean, that's a lot of pressure.
You guys go in those big trailers or like what kind of?
Dude, we're out of a van.
Just a van.
This is a privateer life, man. It's not a truck. We were doing it out of what we could afford. And yeah, we did good. We made a pretty good dent on the privateer life there for a year. But we ran out of money, just like everything else.
Yeah.
Relationships go to shit when there's no money left. So,
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it didn't necessarily end well for that time period. So I backed it down with the whole pinstripe thing, and I was kind of looking to stay in the industry. So I was like, you know, Northern California, I could do like a motocross magazine or whatever. So I started taking ads for that and printing it, designing it, distributing it, add content. I'm doing all this shit myself.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? I'll tone it down because we had an amateur side to the team. Kid Nick DeCarly and Kyle Carpenter, and they were just amateur racers. And they'd go out and win their amateur races and get us notoriety and all that. And I was like, well, I need a pro racer. So we took this kid, Kinzer Endicott, from the same city up in Red Bluff, California that Robert Knopf is from. And lo and behold, this kid comes out, starts fucking winning everything.
Yeah.
And it just blew everything I was doing like right out of the water. Because it was like, I'm done doing the supercross thing, everything on that top tier level. I want to do an amateur thing. And we had it was called The Dirt, which was NorCal Motocross magazine. I created an app for it. It was in all the app stores. And essentially this kid blew it all up because I couldn't keep up with him. Everybody's like, well, fuck, he's quicker than the guy you had before almost. Like they're right there. And this kid was younger. He's all, you got to get him this, you got to get him that. And all that pressure came back to, I should have walked away from it then because I didn't do anybody any favors in that situation. That thing died real quick. So it was kind of took a hiatus from that. And I think my wife, who will eventually watch this, deserves a lot of credit for surviving that fucking time period, man, because I was in and out, spending a lot of our money on racing. And it was cool, though. It was a lot of experience, a lot of cool relationships.
That's a lot of cool life experience, though. And you were able to kind of like be really in the sport, you know, from the traveling to all these races, the mechanic. And now you're retired, now you're coming back, so you're going full circle. Yeah,
it's coming back around. My buddies...
Are you more prepared now with all the experience?
Oh, absolutely. The problem is what they say is youth is wasted on the young. I don't have the body to do it now. I'm like, fuck, dude, I got to get back in shape. But everybody with the longevity, you see like The Rock and Mark Wahlberg and all these guys, like, fuck, dude, they're in fighter shape now.
Dude, like The Rock, he posts like 4:30 in the morning, he works out like every day. Yeah. That would definitely... He's probably definitely taking steroids and shit, though.
He's got to be doing something, man.
There's no way The Rock's all natural, bro.
I need to find out what he's doing, to be honest with you. I don't think they regulate that for a desert race.
Yeah, so EOS is not going to get you ready or what?
Yes, I'll get on The Rock's program for a month just to get through this. But, yeah, we're excited about it. We got a lot of cool sponsors. I actually brought you some swag.
Oh, shit. The swag, getting some swag. When it came to like motocross, the let me see.
Well, you already got the Mad Viking stuff. Mad Viking is our title sponsor. You have more of the beard than I do to be the Viking.
Shout out Mad Viking, oils, Valhalla. Oh shit!
Oops, sorry, dude.
Beard balm, and
that's for you and for the wife.
Hell yeah!
So. First of all, Mad Viking came on as the title sponsor of this thing, and they were somebody that I hunted down because of my love of Vikings. That show, The Last Kingdom, I actually love that show.
The Last Kingdom? Yeah, I saw that.
That's my show. But, yeah, I hunted these guys down. Their branding's on point. I've always wanted to grow a beard, so I was doing the beard oils. During quarantine, I had a big old bushy one like yours. Here's a good-looking beard. They're going to be pumped when they see this. You're like, dude,
I've used their products before, actually, because you gave me some samples when we were doing some job earlier last year. So I had one of these in the truck because they're small, so you're able to have them. Because throughout the day, like, I put some in the morning, and then, like, I brush it with, like, a beard comb or whatever. And then throughout the day, especially the construction, like, dust and all the stuff that we deal with, like, sometimes, like, I brush it, and I'm like, I need a little oil, you know?
It gets all dried out or whatever.
It's all dried out. It's all full of thin set.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why my beard stick, bro. It's all thin set and grout. But yeah,
they came on as title sponsor, so we're Team Mad Viking. So I definitely appreciate all the guys over there for our support. We have a code that I'm gonna drop in this thing later, but you can go on and.
Do you know the Mad Viking people? Like,
I don't know them from anybody.
Where are they from?
They're from like Pennsylvania. I know they're back there, because I see that. But they have. Dude, they're all over the world. They have kind of like club meetings, like beard club type things, like gatherings and crews, I guess you could say clubs.
Yeah, we got to start a Coachella Valley beard club.
Dude, I was thinking about it. I think that'd be good for you.
Have you seen that dude that works across the street from you guys? Like in the window place?
Oh yeah.
That fool has a big old beard.
Yeah.
I always look at that fool's beard.
We take J&E Auto, that guy that does like all our vehicles. That's his kid.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I was like, fuck, small world. I gave him one of these things. I'm like, dude, you got to try this. You got the beard for it. Anybody's got a beard, I'm like, here, dude, go try this. Go use my code. Get on board with these guys. Because the product, at the end of the day, people will call bullshit on branding and all that if the product's not good. The product's good.
Yeah, the product's good, and I mean, beard oil is beard oil, but this one, like, I don't know. There's something about it because I've tried a bunch of Amazon products. I've tried so many different ones just to try them out because I was like, I've never really like this beard shit. It's like you learn as you go.
Yeah.
You don't know anything. So I was ordering like different Amazon ones, and I've tried one like on Instagram that I saw some local ones, but this one's really good.
Yeah, I like their stuff. I've never put it in front of somebody and they're like, dude, this.
The consistency's dope.
Yeah.
I like this one. I started making my own.
That's what you told me the other day. How is this
trying
going
it out? It's going good. It's I made 2 different ones. One was like a citrus, like orange and lime, like fresh one and shit.
Yeah.
Then I got another one was like cedar wood and like more outdoors.
What are you using, like essential oils or something?
Essential oils, yeah. So essential oils, and then I add a little bit of coconut oil for like to make it more thick, and then it's all kinds of oils. I don't even know the names, but it's just all like drops of everything. I don't even
experimenting.
Just experimenting.
Yeah.
This is my first time doing it, so it's like something I'm trying out.
I like how you put the beard experiment. You kind of learn as you go. Because when I had the bigger beard, I couldn't trim it for shit. I'd be looking in the mirror and looking all crazy, and that's how I ended up here. I'm like, this is a little bit more manageable.
I never trim my own beard. Like I trim, I do like the edging, and look around like my mouth and the mustache, and that's it. And like I shave my head, but like I don't trim anything. I have to go to a barber.
I finally experienced that the other day. He cut it way shorter than I wanted him to, but it was cool.
They do a good job.
Yeah,
and they kind of get you like. They might trim it down, but then it starts like more even, you know, versus yourself. You're all fucking.
Oh, dude, there was plenty of times I was so pissed. I'm like, wow, this got to come off now. I got to go way back. But yeah, so they came out real. I'm excited to be a part of that because that's a pretty cool community. We have a lot of other sponsors, are just people that we know, and this is one of them from my bartending days. Colin Craner and his family are Nottingham sellers out of Livermore, California. That's originally where we were from before we moved here like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of looking at it like I'm real picky on brands, and I'm real like I want to work with people that I know, one, to help kind of my people advance and not push anybody else's product. Plus, it's got to be good. And Livermore Wine System, my wife was a wine manager for years up there.
Okay.
And not here. She was with Concannon, but Nottingham Cellars is. I want an honest review on this. But this is my favorite one, man. And it's just a red blend. This is the Sheriff. But they're definitely one of the best wineries in that area. I wish I lived closer because they got all sorts of cool events, kind of like the Indio Food Park does here. You know, food trucks and stuff like that.
It's in Northern California?
It's in Northern California, right in Livermore. Livermore wine country, right where like Concannon is, Wente, all those big names right there. And Nottingham Cellars is right there.
Okay.
And again, we have a code for that too. It's Anthony 30. You can go on there and get 30% off.
Yeah, I'll put the links in the description of all the the sponsors for Mad Viking, the code. People could use it. Definitely. What is it? Nottingham.
Yeah, Nottingham Cellars.
Are you a big wine guy?
I became a big wine guy. Beer just made me fat, so that sucked. We went through my wife. My wife's a drinker. If anybody was going to go professional drinking, it's her. Not in a bad way. I don't want her getting pissed off that I'm bringing this up, but 2-1, she can outdrink me. But she's also got a palate for it. So she like exposed me to wine when she started working there, essentially. And now my palate really has grown to it. I like it. I like the flavor of it. Beer just kind of makes me feel whatever, and I get real crazy on alcohol. So
yeah,
like hard liquor.
Wine's cool. I never got into like more bougie cool wines. I would just get the generic shit, but I like wine. It's nice, like relaxing, watching movies, like just chilling at home. And I'll definitely try it out.
Yeah, dude, you gotta give it an honest effort. If you start going to wineries, you'll become a wine snob like immediately. You can't go back to like the cheap stuff. It's hard.
I listened to you know Gary V on social media.
Oh,
yeah, so that fool, he kept saying, because he used to have like a wine shop or whatever. He always says that like all the wine snob stuff it's fake. Like no one really knows what they're doing. That everybody pretends that they're an expert and that they know about this flavor.
That's
and
probably
this
true. My wife told me that they'll take 2 different wines and separate them. One will be $40 and one will be 10. It'll be the same fucking wine. You'll never know.
Yeah, like they've done like tests, like double placebo. They have like a $200 wine, like different with no labels, and people try them out, and the people just bullshit their way through
Yeah,
it.
they
Nobody
don't.
knows.
It's the branding. It's like the experience. You think that like after a while, you're like, oh, I gotta have that wine. Like I'm super particular about it for no reason whatsoever.
And
I would fail those tests. Absolutely.
And then you think about like they're doing you subconsciously they tell you this wine is from this date and it's $300. You know, your mind already thinks like this is a better wine. This is gonna be better than anything I've ever tasted. Like, you know, it's just subconsciously, I think you tell that story to yourself.
I don't even understand the date thing, to be honest with you. Like, oh, that one's
aging.
been sitting there for 18 years. It's better than. How could that possibly be better? Fermentation process, whatever. I don't. Go ahead and explain it to me, but I'm not going to retain any of it.
There's people that have wines from like the 1400s as well. Like, do you own a drink of wine that's from the 1400s? That sounds dangerous.
Yeah, it's. And there's no way it was like as clean as shit is now. Like, where's that bottle been?
Like, what was the process?
100 years later, I'm supposed to drink this now.
400, 600 years later. And then they probably have like the black plague and shit in there, like all the germs.
That's probably where a lot of this shit's coming from. That dude had a 400-year-old bottle of wine next to him when he was eating that bat. That's how COVID got here. People are blaming the bat.
It's weird, bro. Like, I don't know. There's something about like, I think time. We're fascinated with like old school shit.
Isn't it weird how everything just comes back around?
It does in circles. I kept hearing. I remember when I was younger, they were like, the fashion is like a 20-year cycle, and I was like, how's it 20? Like, we're not gonna go back to shit that was like in the 80s and 90s, and like you see people wearing today is nothing but 90s clothes, bro. Like baggy fucking sweats,
The jeans, all the girls with the jeans up above, like mid-stomach jeans now are
like
back.
all those vintage jeans,
Acid washed.
those like fresh prints, like colorful, like baggy, like pants, and bro, everything's coming back. Bucket hats, like all that shit.
Yeah, that's a true statement.
Well, that's just for fashion, but everything else, like I think we just run on nostalgia, or I don't know.
Dude, talk about movies. When do you see like? I mean, there are original movies that come out that are decent. Obviously, Marvel's doing a great job with it, but how many fucking remakes do we need of these movies? They're taking all that stuff from back then and just remaking it now. Disney Plus has got Turner and Hooch on there. I didn't even know that was that popular. The Tom Hanks movie with the dog.
Yeah.
I was like, what is this? Who's remaking that?
Well, Disney has. It's because movie companies that it's all about money. Like, they want to make money. So if you have two movies, like here's an original script or a remake of this thing that people already know, like the company doesn't want to lose money. So the original thing might be amazing, but how many people are gonna watch it? Versus people are just gonna watch it on the name. Even if you complain that it's getting remade, like you recognize the branding, you recognize the title. It's like, oh, I'll go watch it. It's the new Space Jam just came out like this weekend, so people are gonna watch it just because it's Space Jam. And if it was like an original basketball movie, it wouldn't get as many views as going to watch Space Jam.
I thought that was interesting for LeBron to do. I'm not like a big LeBron versus Jordan guy.
Yeah,
because I honestly wasn't a big basketball guy when Jordan was going off. But watching what LeBron's done, I got a lot of respect for him. He's not my favorite player.
Yeah.
But I don't know why he gets hated on as much as he does. I mean, he's carried teams by himself to championships.
Yeah.
The championship was going through him.
Every
like
time.
A decade.
He went like to 10 straight NBA finals, bro. Like in the modern NBA, like shit that people were doing in the 60s when there was like 7 teams and there was like all white dudes and shit.
Yes. The guy, I thought it was interesting that he went and remade this franchise though, with all that debate. Like, why would you even touch that? That was Jordan's thing back then.
I know. I saw some like video about like Jordan. He was like behind the script, but they didn't give him a lot of credit. Like, he was one of the original writers, or not as a director, but he almost kind of directed the movie too. Just kind of like whatever he wanted. He's like, I want to have cartoons and like a 4D setting type thing.
Well, shit, if you watch the Jordan documentary, he dictated it.
Yeah,
like he directed it. He said, "This is how it's gonna go," and I'm Michael Jordan, so that's what we're doing.
Yeah, like he was filming a documentary while he was playing basketball. Like, that was pretty dope.
That's everything that guy's touched is fucking cool. That documentary, whoever did that did it. Incredible job.
Except the basketball team he owns, that shit, they suck.
The Hornets
or whatever.
Yeah, that's a good point. I forget that he even owns a basketball team.
Yeah, that's the only thing that he's flopped as a manager, and then his kids kind of suck the basketball too. But I mean, that's not because I heard he was.
My kids don't even want to touch racing. My daughter's about to make a travel soccer team. My oldest son is on his high school golf team. I got him into that though. I'm a big golfer. I like it. I like the mental aspect.
I saw you were posting about the World Cup.
Oh
Italy.
yeah. Well,
'Cause
anybody that's got an ounce of Italian was
you guys,
like,
you
hey,
guys have a little bit of Italian. Oh, your last
yeah,
name.
Bernardi, yeah. So Del Bernardi, Del's Flooring,
Yeah.
which is, I don't know if anybody knows this, but that's how I know this guy.
Yeah.
Does your fan base know what you actually do? Like that you run and manage like millions of dollars worth of tile here in the Coachella Valley and beyond?
Nah, I don't really talk about it that much.
Dude, you should get more credit for that. I mean, you cannot come down to Stagecoach or to Coachella and walk in a facility. The odds are you're walking in a facility that this guy did tile on. Not physically. Well, yeah, a lot of it's physically, but the manpower that you manage, that's recognizable for sure.
Yeah, and I don't talk about it. I do mention that I do tile, but I don't really talk about it that much. I don't know.
You're exposed now. It's out there. So that's how I know. Del's Flooring. I'm third generation at Del's Flooring. My grandfather was Del Bernardi, Italian. His parents were Italian immigrants.
Yeah.
And he started Del's Flooring in 97. He's passed away since. My dad's been doing it for about 14 years now. He's done an incredible job with that thing. He took the framework of something really good and made it really big. Focused on commercial.
Oh, you guys have so much work. It's crazy, bro.
Yeah, it's too much. I can tell you that right now. After coming off this last week, man, I cracked a bottle of that last night, and I was like, dude, what are we doing here? But I've been here about 3 years doing it, so it's third generation Italians.
So you guys were watching the game or no? Or you're just?
I watched the game. Yeah, I made sure.
You like? Well, your daughter plays soccer.
My daughter plays soccer. I like soccer, but I don't follow it. I don't understand you guys' leagues because you're a big soccer guy, right?
Yeah, I'm a big soccer guy, but I usually just watch like the main. I don't watch like every league and all that shit. It's too much. It's way too many leagues. I don't have enough time.
I don't even understand. So if you have a team, it'd be like the American way of it is you have a team and a team is in the league.
Yeah.
But on this one, you have a team and you can enter it all over the place.
So
you can enter it in any tournament.
Yeah. So there's it's really complicated, but there's the national teams. The national teams is if you're Italian, like the Euro Championship. So you represent your national team. So players from all over the world they're either born in Italy or dual citizenship, like their parents are from Italy. Like if you were playing soccer, you might qualify as a Italian. Like you might have the option if you were like world class, you could have played either U.S. or Italy. Like you could almost have that option based on your heritage.
That's crazy.
So that's a lot of players do it. So especially for the U.S., like there's a lot of kids that were born like in Germany that from parents living in like a military base or something. They're Americans. They grew up playing in Germany, but they choose to play for USA instead of Germany because they have American parents. But since they were born in Germany, they also have a German citizenship, so they could choose which way to play.
Wouldn't you choose Germany at that point? I'd never seen
soccer,
a U.S. team that's like, we recruit and make everybody Americans, and then they're like, but we don't. Why don't we do that with soccer? Our teams always suck.
The U.S. soccer sucked for a long time because they didn't have the academies. So in Europe, like, and then in South America too, they have soccer academies where they were recruiting 10-year-olds, 8-year-olds, and like paying for them to be in it's a school, like a soccer school. So they're teaching them like regular school, but it's like training with like professional coaching.
So they got a farm system.
Like a farm system. Yeah. Like since they're like 8, 10 years, they're making money though. Like they're it's not like just paying them an education. They're actually making a little bit of money. At a certain age and certain talent, not all of them. And here in the U.S., it was the same thing as like the NFL. Like you go through high school and college, and then you get to the like MLS, and then maybe you make the national team. So the talent level of a 17-year-old that went through an academy farm system versus a guy that went through high school and shit, it was like just night and day. The quality.
I could imagine that guy's developing his skills at an age when he's still developing.
And that competition over there, just like surrounded by soccer culture because it's the most popular sport in the world actually. So that's one of the reasons. But now since the last like 4 or 5 years, they started a bunch of academies here. So now they're recruiting kids like 12, 15. They're like in almost every MLS team has like an academy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So now the U.S. has a talented pool of like young kids right now. Like they're in like some of the major clubs in the world right now. So I think 5-10 years from now, right now it's already like turning around where like you could see the potential. Like the Pulisic kid, they won the Champions League with Chelsea. Then you have a kid that plays in Barcelona, like one of the best clubs. You have other kid that play in Juventus, another great club from Italy. Like before that you didn't see that. Like Americans would go play at overseas, but it'll be like some like bottom of the league tier team or something, you know, like a role player. Now they're in like the major teams, and this is just the beginning. So it's about time, you know. It's like you have all the resources here, but they never had any.
It was weird that the big international game, we didn't go out of our way to dominate it. But we just
everything else they did.
Destroy everybody and everything else. Except for our USA basketball teams out there flailing around or whatever they're doing. Yeah.
Well, the world's catching up on basketball too, just because they didn't have the infrastructure.
Yeah.
Because the world, it's easier to play soccer, so that's why soccer was more popular. All you just needed a ball.
You need a ball.
Put a couple of rocks as a goal, and that's it. Basketball's like you almost need you could play without a court, but it's like it's a little harder. You know, you gotta get a court. You know, but now they're like a bunch of like Nigeria. Like people sleep on it. There's 200 million people in Nigeria, bro. Like that's a lot. It's like probably like a top 10 country based on population.
USA slept on it.
Yeah. Well, Giannis Antetokounmpo, like the MVPs in the finals, he's actually, I think he was born in Nigeria or he has Nigerian parents, but they moved to Greece. So he's like a Greek citizen, but he could have been playing for Nigeria too if he wanted to. So that's like the kind of talent, the 2-time MVP who's in the finals right now. So like Nigeria has, and Hakeem Olajuwon, like an NBA Hall of Famer, he's from Nigeria too. So yeah, we're slept on like on the world. Now they're catching up. Like the U.S. used to beat teams by like 60, 50 points. And I
remember the Dream Team. I was like, oh, wow, we're just flexing on the world now.
Yeah.
Like, that was brutal.
Every 4 or 5 years, the gap's closing down. Like now they're losing preseason games, but the gap's closing. Like before they used to win by 50, then they were winning by like 20. And now they're close. You know, like the games aren't even, you don't know they're going to win now.
I'm waiting for LeBron to just, that'll be the ultimate promo for his movie, is for him to just join the team. Because I think Kevin Love just backed out this morning, I think.
Oh, yeah, Kevin Love backed out. But I think they said they were announcing some replacements. I don't know who they had.
It'd be ideal for LeBron to go save the world right now.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a good role for him.
He doesn't want to because he's already older, so he's trying to like save his legs for...
He's waiting for his kid. I think that's
cool what it is. Too. He said he wants to play one season with his kid. So his contract with the Lakers, it ends the year that his kid's going to get drafted to the NBA.
Oh, wow.
So he'll be able to like
go wherever he's drafted.
Yeah, I think he's going to sign where he's going to get drafted. They're saying that he's going to be potential like to be like a top pick because he's LeBron's kid and he's actually like a pretty good player. So just off the name, he'll be like a top 10 pick. And we'll see how he develops. He's starting like a sophomore or junior in high school. I don't know how old he is. But okay, so I didn't even go back to soccer. So going back to soccer, you have the local league. So for example, the MLS is the local league here. So the Major League Soccer.
That's our American one.
Galaxy.
And we tried to buy players, right? We tried to bring David Beckham in.
Yeah, shit like that. So that's the National League. Mexico has its own league, like Chivas America. You probably heard of those, like those people. That's the Mexican league. Then there's England, the Premier League. It's technically the most popular league in the world because they have the most resources. Like they have the biggest advertising spending, like almost twice as much as any other league. So TV rights and all that shit, like they make so much money off TV because it's also in English and English is so popular.
One of them's got Chevrolet on it. American car company.
All the major sponsors are in like these. They're like $1 billion to have like the shit on the jerseys. So all those leagues. So that Premier League's like the most popular. And that's where like Chelsea, Manchester United, Manchester City, Liverpool, like all those teams. That's like England. In Germany, you have like Bayern Munich, Bayern Leverkusen, Borussia Dortmund. That's like the German league. France, Paris Saint-Germain, Marseille, Lyon, whatever. Then Italy, you have
AC Milan,
Inter Milan, Juventus,
so that's their MLS.
Yeah, so that's all their individual leagues.
And then from there they take and build the national team, right?
Yeah, so that's just like the regular season, you know, that's where they play. Then every like 3 or 4 months they have international games. So these players, they play like the whole season in their country, whatever team they're playing for. And when there's a national team game, the national team recruits from all these leagues, like they're the best players wherever they play, and they get like a 23-man roster. So that's what they have like qualifying for like the Euro Championship that just happened or the World Cup, or in America, like every continent has its own like international title.
Yeah, so they're like taking out of the MLS, we would take all our best players and enter them into this tournament, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing that I find interesting is like all of a sudden randomly there'll be like a soccer tournament going on.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it was like what the hell did Messi just win? Argentina won some tournament while the Euro is going on.
Yeah, so the Euro, it's only European teams playing in that, so it's all European teams only. At the same time, it was Copa America, which is all only South American teams.
Oh, so it was
So
like the
it's
Euro of South
Chile,
America.
Argentina, Uruguay, Brazil, Colombia, like all the South American teams. Right now that just started, it's another cup called the Gold Cup, which is only the North American and Central American teams. So it's U.S., Canada, Mexico, Jamaica, Costa Rica, all the like Caribbean teams, Cuba, like all the shit's together. So that's their own team. Then the Euro is only the Euro where like Italy won, and then Copa America where Argentina won. That's only South America. Then there's an Asian Cup where like Korea, South Korea, Japan, all those teams, they play together. Then there's an African Cup where like Nigeria, South Africa, like all those teams play together.
Everything you're explaining is just like truly is the international game.
Yeah, it literally is by continent. So that's the continent title. So like everybody wants to win that because it's your regional title. You know, you represent your country, so that the players try harder because one is only the 23 best players from that country. So the U.S. has 400 million people. They got to pick the best 23. You know, like that's, you got to be like top notch. Same with like Germany, only the best 23, the best 23 Italians, you know, or Argentina.
It's like prestigious to even make the team.
To even make the team is an honor. And then you're representing your country. So it's like they play the national anthem of your country before the game starts. So it's like a big like pride.
Yeah.
And except here in America now, you can't even be proud of your country and shit. But anyways,
I don't want to turn this into a political thing, man. I do myself a favor. I don't watch the fucking news. I stay away from all politics, man. I mean, I know what I need to know.
Yeah, so that's like the it's every 4 years they play for these like their continental championships, but every 4 years at the same time you're qualifying for the World Cup. So now you get the best 32 teams out of the whole world that you got to qualify to even make it. So Europe they get the most teams. I think maybe 12 or 14 teams. Europe qualifies for the World Cup. South America gets 5 teams, and then the region we're in, North America, I think only gets 3 or 4 teams. So that's why USA didn't qualify for the World Cup last time, because they didn't make the top 4. So it was.
I just never hear anything about USA soccer besides the women's and that.
Women's dominate just because
women.
We have such good like development of athletes here. In other countries, like most of the countries, they don't even let women play sports and shit. So it's like, I think it's just based on athleticism.
Dude, you can get in trouble for even saying that. You can't do that in America.
What?
They're holding women down still in other countries? Holy shit. I didn't even know that was a thing anymore.
Oh, bro. There's countries that don't even play soccer. That's
what happens when you don't expose yourself to media. You get surprised on dumb shit. Like, oh, really? That's still going on.
Yeah. Oh, big time, bro. We have it so good here, but I don't want to talk about that.
Dude, I live and play in my own world, man. It's is what it is. But that's interesting about the farm system that you were talking about, because to reiterate and kind of bring it back to like motorcycles, when I was racing street bikes, that was like where I actually found my love of motorcycles. And MotoGP is like the Formula One racing of motorcycles. So they're traveling the whole world. I just booked a trip to go to Texas with the whole family to see it, because they're just now letting them come back to America. They're going to race at Circuit of America there in Austin. And we don't have that farm system. So my all-time, like my hero growing up during that time, and he's about the same age as me. It was just like that dude that you wanted to be was Nicky Hayden. Mm-hmm. He passed away in 2017, I think. He was hit. He was training for World Superbike racing, got hit while he was riding a fucking bicycle by a dude texting in Italy.
Wow.
That's fucking terrible. But he's the last American MotoGP world champion from 2006. And he's the last one to really do it. So America has our American Racing League.
Yeah.
And it was AMA racing at the time, which is the same thing of what you're describing, because now we're struggling to compete with the rest of the world. So back then they had that farm system. We had an American Racing League, and Nicky Hayden was, I think, one of the last ones. Him and Ben Spies were one of the last ones to go straight from America to the top seat. You don't really see that anymore. We have a couple of Americans in Moto 2. There's like levels. There's MotoGP, Moto 2, and Moto 3, and they're just lesser performance bikes, essentially. Mm-hmm. Not performance, but like top speed. A MotoGP bike's custom from the ground up.
Yeah.
Like it's a fucking regular bike on steroids. But it's we've created that farm system. So Wayne Rainey was an American road racing champion. Now he created Moto America, which is going and circulating now all over the country. The series is going on now, but now we actually have that farm system. He did that specifically to bring it back to America, because all these kids, these MotoGP bikes that are custom made, you go to Moto 2, you go to Moto 3, and then there's the Red Bull Rookie Cup. All these kids are farmed through that system from their early teens, 10, 11, 12.
The development years.
Yeah, the development system. So KTM will take a rider and hang on to him for their whole fucking career, because it's like, well, we had this guy at 11 and 12 doing this in the Rookie Cup, and then he goes, he's 15, 16, he's getting into Moto 2, Moto 3, goes into MotoGP, and it's like these Americans we're on production-based bikes that you and me can go buy.
Yeah.
And there's another series called World Superbike that has that bike, the maximum of what these manufacturers can do to a stock bike. And you got MotoGP that's like top level, but the farm system's made to ride that bike. Our system's made to kind of be over here. Mm-hmm. So some of our riders have made the jump directly over there right now. Our world champion the last 5 years in Moto America, Cam Barbier, he's over there in Moto 2, and he's getting them down. He doesn't know the tracks. Like, these kids grew up on all these European tracks. They fucking know that. Yeah, they know everything. He started over there with Marc Marquez, who absolutely dominates the sport now, coming off an injury, so he's not right now. This kid's in the lead, Fabio Quartararo, but we don't have an American at the top. And I just brought this up to touch on the fact that the development system and the lack thereof here in America for something like this, because we're such a car crazy country. That this one dude, Wayne Rainey, who's a former champion, he's paralyzed. He's paralyzed in '97, I think, racing. But he's completely brought this thing back. So it's kind of like what you were saying. We're playing catch up in this aspect. We're playing catch up to the rest of the world. Yeah, I think we're finally closing that gap.
That's cool.
Yeah, there's
racing's really big in Europe, right? Like I don't know about like motocross, but like just racing in general.
Motocross seems like it's big everywhere. Like, everybody watches Supercross, but Supercross is here in America. So for everybody to say it's a world champion, it's not. You got to come over here to race it and race in all our baseball stadiums and football stadiums and all that shit. Road racing, if you go to Europe, road racing is, I can't even explain it. It's like how we treat NASCAR.
Yeah.
Which I'm not a NASCAR guy. I'm not really a car guy. But you go to those events and there's hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah.
We go to this MotoGP event, there's probably 20, 30,000, I think. I'm not really sure, but it's not like a NASCAR event. Let's put it that way. You go to Europe and it's like that. They're fucking motorcycle countries over there. They're not really car countries, and I think it's because a lot of them depend on motorcycles more.
There's no room for cars. It's too old, bro. There's no infrastructure out there for vehicles. That's why everything's so small. They're like small cars and shit.
I don't know what it is, but they're definitely they're enthusiasts over there. Like, one of my bucket list trips is to go to Mugello. It's in northern Italy. Fucking badass track. But I mean, just the atmosphere to be around that's got to be insane.
Yeah,
100,000 Italians going ape shit over some motorcycles. Yeah.
What do you gotta do to like qualify for something like that?
Oh, you got it. That's top tier. That's next level. That's like, I don't know. We've had like 4 or 5 Americans racing in MotoGP over the last like decade, I think.
What's do you ever watch like Formula One?
I watch Formula One. No, not really. I went to Indianapolis when it came back to America. When it came back to Indy, I forget how long ago that was. But it was still Michael Schumacher was around then.
Yeah.
And in those days, I watched it. Michael Schumacher, Villeneuve. My dad's huge into it. He loves it.
Because I know the Formula One stuff's super huge out there in Europe. Like,
yeah, that's big time.
That's
too.
Like that's the thing. I don't understand it. I'm never really taking the time or commitment to watch and find out what's like the appeal behind it. But I just find it fascinating. People are really like, they love that.
I don't, for me, motorcycles were always like the perfect balance between man and machine. Because it's like a 50-50.
You're in control.
Yeah, it's what's 50% you. You're not like protected by the car. It's not as dependent on what the car does. I mean, you can get beat by another bike, but 9 out of 10 times you're getting beat by another rider. You're not getting beat by another car. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So in that aspect, I think that's what drew me to motorcycle racing. It's probably the same thing that draws me to golf, because you're playing the course. You're getting beat between the ears. It has nothing to do with equipment or any of that shit.
That's what a lot of people like jiu-jitsu.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever done jiu-jitsu or anything like that?
Mm-mm.
There's a lot of people say the same thing. Like, you're one-on-one and it humbles you, like going against like the world class or the black belts or whatever. So when you go to the street racing, even though you're in control, then you see that, like you were saying, you're next to the pros. You're like, shit, like it humbles you, like being next to those kind of.
Yeah, it's It's interesting. It's cool to see it coming back in America, though. I mean, that was definitely cool to see. There's a guy here, pretty big influence on a lot of the things that I did. This guy Jason Pridmore, and over right here in at Chuckwalla, he's got a big old garage there. He still does he does training and stuff like that. He's older now. He's a former world champion, national champion, and. Where's I going with this? Oh, you want to bring it round full circle. He raced for Jordon Motorsports, Suzuki, and AMA Racing back in the day, like Laguna Seca, and he's racing for Jordon. So Jordon got into motorcycles.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you ever knew that.
I didn't know that.
And Pridmore's the one that got him into it. So he would take him out to these to his track days and ride days, and I did his school like a handful of times. And you see Jordan on there, dude, on the motorcycle with his legs freaking sticking out, and this is hilarious. But yeah, so he starts a race team, and Jason Pridmore races for him, and here you are years later. I've been removed from the sport. I've just been a fan for the last 5, 6, 7 years, whatever, and without going to events, without racing, without doing anything. And I find out that he's over here doing this school like an hour away at Chuckwalla, and he's a professional golfer. The dude, it's just kind of looks like he's also the commentator for Moto America for the American League.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the ultimate, dude's got the ultimate like retirement package for a racer. Like he won national championships. He went into the booth like an NFL player does. Still has a school. I follow him on Instagram. We went down there. I got to talk to him for a little bit. I was like, that's fucking cool, man. Like it's like the ultimate retirement package for this thing. But American motorcycle racing is coming back.
What is like those schools that you're saying? What is that? Like those farm system schools, or what are you talking about?
No, he does more like one-on-one. Like he's got a thing at Chuckwalla where like if our companies wanted to go do something like that, I don't think it's to that level. I think he's more still developing racers.
Yeah.
But a lot of the racers that race Chuckwalla, like CVMA, I'm looking to racing that like at the end of the year or something, maybe even in the next year. But that's like a AAA league of racing, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Like your weekend warriors type of racing. So
plus passion teaching those kids, and
what's that?
It's probably really like cool, like passionate about like teaching and getting people excited about it, you know.
Oh, dude, he's got a podcast, Greg's Garage with Greg White, and he's the other commentator on there. And you just hear the way the guy talks about it. It's like I bitch about things. I don't have a job. I fucking ride a motorcycle all day. You know, people pay him for one-on-one instruction. I'm sure I'm fucking all this up from what he actually does, but
it's okay.
It's cool to see the guy still out there doing it, you know.
What about like the only like motocross person that I ever like that was cool just because of the X Games was Travis Pastrana.
Yeah, that guy's still cool.
Is he still racing and doing that?
He does whatever the fuck he wants. He randomly showed up at a hair scramble and did that, which is similar to what we're about to do. Just randomly shows up and does that, takes all the attention, fucking places. He'll go show up randomly at the X Games. He gets in them Gymkhana cars, starts shooting videos, drifting the car all over the place, jumping it. Like that kid is.
I remember he did the double backflip at the X Games in 2006 or 2005. I don't remember what year it was, but it was like the first time ever that someone had done a double backflip with the bike. As one of the X Games like freestyle.
It's a freestyle trick event, right?
Yeah, like the trick event. He did
him live in San Francisco when he did a backflip into the bay. I remember that.
Backflip into the bay, damn.
Everybody went fucking ape shit because you got this motorcycle with all the oils and all the toxic and all that. Then Fox.
Oh, makes sense.
Fox Clothing paid all his fines. He got fined by everybody for that. They give him all his money back.
Especially in San Francisco. I
remember seeing that live because he just went up and out of the stadium. I was like, holy shit, dude.
I saw he was trying to do like, he wanted to like, I don't know if it ever happened, but like around that time, he wanted to make like a motocross bike able to do the flips like a BMX bike. Like he wanted to turn like the front wheel.
Oh, where like the front.
But it kept falling off because it's a freaking motorbike, you know. Like I don't know if he ever made it, but I remember he kept trying it, and he tried it at the X Games and it failed. Like the thing like came off.
I never saw that.
He was trying to do some crazy shit like that.
He still, dude. That was like what I'm talking about. Was like 3 months ago. He just entered a fucking race, and all of a sudden like, oh, Pastrana's here racing this hair scramble.
Because he was also doing like racing in the desert too with the. What was it? Like Subarus and shit.
Yeah, he does that. That kid will race anything, I think.
And I think he was also, I don't know if he also joined the X Games for like winter, and he was doing like
That's what I mean. Like, you just tell that kid, hey, we're going to do this. He's like, all right.
That's crazy. That was bad.
Fucking,
Is he like one of the best legends out there?
He's a legend in innovation, I think, in the sport for everything that he did on a motorcycle. And because he also raced Supercross. He raced 125. I think he won a main event, or he was up there. He was supposed to be one of the top prospects, but he kept sticking his nose in all these other things. Freestyle. It was kind of like skaters and rollerbladers or something like that for a while. It was like you either raced or you did freestyle.
And he was doing both.
And he was like, he was the crossover kid, and he was good at both. He went professional doing everything. So I think in a way, he probably brought a lot of the community together. So that he probably doesn't get enough credit for that, but yeah, he'll be a legend. But when you think Travis Pastrana, you think double backflip, crazy shit. Nobody knows it. That kid went through the whole as a kid racing, and he's fast as hell racing too.
I saw when I was doing research for the Min 400, I saw that like they had some celebrities like Chuck Norris.
Oh, really?
Chuck Norris raced the Min 400 and
get out of here, serious?
Yeah,
I didn't see any of that.
Like in the original ones, like in the 70s, it was Chuck Norris. Who was Steve McQueen?
Oh, Steve McQueen. Yeah, he's one of those guys that put those things on the map back in the early days.
Oh, he was really involved with it.
Yeah,
Chuck Norris, bro. You gotta
Chuck Norris, dude. Like hearing that name, like it just immediately that becomes a meme. It's just like the Mint 400 was afraid of Chuck Norris.
Oh yeah, that's he was like the original meme because everyone used to make the Chuck Norris jokes. Like everybody, like I remember growing up in school, Chuck Norris this, and then people will actually make memes like his picture with words and shit. That was before memes were a thing, and he might be the original one, the first one.
Okay, he's probably not getting credit for that either. He probably should.
Yeah, that was a legend. But right before we take off, let's just skip one more time.
Oh yeah, I actually got to run through some of the. Here's your boy Oscar right here, dude. So Oscar, if you see me squirming around in this chair, Oscar Lua was drafted in 2007 by Bill Belichick in the 7th round, and the New England Patriots. Our Oscar, the same guy that's walking these jobs, telling us to fucking move tile and do all that. This guy invites me out to Thermal Racetrack over here. So I've been squirming around uncomfortably in this chair because I got 2 cracked ribs right here.
Yeah.
From riding these fucking 90-mile-an-hour go-karts with this guy. Dude, coming around the last turn, I think you got to be pulling a couple G's out of this turn, dude. Yeah, I ended up cracking a couple ribs with him.
So that's what happened?
That's what, dude, I'm like.
Because I remember you're like, oh, I'm hurt. I can't pick. So I just had surgery. I was like, what?
Oh, no. The surgery was a hernia surgery. Oh, okay. No, you heard me bitching about being uncomfortable this week, I did it to myself. I was racing this go-kart like I was trying to win a championship. And it's just me and Oscar on this track at the Thermal Club. Fucking, I had a lot of fun, but man, I was.
Yeah, I know a little bit of Oscar. Oscar's he went to Indio High School.
Oh, that's right. He used to show up to your thing,
He graduated from Indio High School. So when I played, he was like a legend. You know, like the last player to make it to NFL. Actually, from the Valley for a while. I think James Dockery and some other people made it, but he was the one that played on a national championship team. You know, he played in the USC with Reggie Bush and Myliner. He led the team in tackles, and he was in the same team with what was his name? Ray Maluga. And Malaluga, Clay Matthews. And he led the team in tackles. Like that year when they lost to Texas in the national title, like if you look at the stats, he had more tackles than anybody in the defense.
Oh my God.
Some Mexican kid from India.
Dude, if Bill Belichick chose me for anything, that'd be the first fucking thing out of my mouth. They'd be on my business card. They'd be like, hey, what's your name? Hey, Belichick drafted me. Belichick's a fucking genius. Like,
and he played.
Oscar never even brought this up. I knew Oscar for like 6 months. I didn't know who the hell he was.
Oh, you didn't know he played?
I had no idea. I was like, oh, he got a Super Bowl ring?
Well, he got a AFC ring, no? Because they lost the Super Bowl to the Giants.
Oh, was that the year?
Yeah.
I thought he had Super Bowl ring. I'm not discrediting you, Oscar, if for some reason you stumble across this.
I know. I've been wanting to have that for the podcast. I haven't told him, but in the future I'll have him on. I know his family too. They do a lot of businesses here. They have a lot of like events.
Dude, he's got his hands at everything. We went to lunch afterwards. I was like, holy shit, this guy's doing a lot of things down here.
Yeah, he's pretty well known here, especially here in Indio. Like I remember when I was a kid, they had the day parade right here in downtown Indio for the fair. Mm-hmm. And when he was at USC, he came out with his USC jersey like on a convertible car and like just waving hi to people. That's because it was when USC was national champion, so it's like we had a local national champion, you know, just fucking from Indio. So that's pretty dope.
That's funny because it's like He's never once even brought any of that up to me. Like, he's not like, he's not that guy.
Yeah, and
He's just
he doesn't bring anything up.
He give a fuck. He just wants to run his business.
He only talks like, well, I've only met him. You probably interacted more offsite, but at the job site, like he's just all business, like freaking.
He comes in and
pace, bro.
this, and fucking have it done tomorrow. You're like, all right, dude, we got it.
Like his pace, like when he's like, oh, fix this, and he just starts walking off fast. I'm like, oh shit, let me go run over there trying to catch up.
Yeah, he's all business, man. I know that he's gonna be pissed off I didn't answer my phone right now, so I'm gonna have to tell him what I was doing. That's a segue into getting him onto here. I bet you that'd be a hell of a conversation.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
That he's got stories. I would assume
his Letterman jacket, bro. Fuck, he looked like those kids in those movies, bro. Like all CAF, all state, fucking like high school, like fucking all kinds of awards. Like that shit look crazy. Cause there was like an anniversary for there's a thing called the Bell Game, which is the CV versus Indio. In Coachella versus Indio is like the biggest rivalry in the desert. Mm-hmm. There's usually like 10,000 plus people that go to the game, and there was like a 50-year anniversary. So it was him, and I think Ed White, who also played in the NFL from Indio. He played for the Vikings, and the 4 years they went to the Super Bowl and lost. He was an offensive lineman for the Vikings.
Oh wow!
And then he played for the Chargers in 49. I don't even remember, but he played in the NFL for like 15 years. So the Indio High School Stadium is named after him, Ed White. And it was him and Oscar and like some other like former alumni. And then it was like a little event they had. I was coaching Indio High School at the time. I used to coach offensive linemen there.
You were coaching? Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
See, all this shit that all I know about people is tile and construction.
Yeah.
It's like you don't think that, oh, fuck, he lived a full life too.
Yeah, I coached, only coached 3 years as an assistant. So it was 2015, 16, and 17.
How far did you make it?
I only played 2 years of COD, so high school and 2 years in college of the desert. But on the year I played in college of the desert, bro, my first year, it was like the craziest experience. Because at Indio, we didn't have a lot of talent. Like they built too many high schools, so the talent here is too spread out now. So back in the day, it was like Indio was a powerhouse in the 90s. That's when like Oscar played and shit. But then they opened La Quinta High School, so all the kids went to go to the new school. And then they opened Shadow Hills High School, so now all the kids went to go to the new school. So now the players from Shadow Hills and La Quinta and Indio, instead of going to one school, it's like spread out. So the talent wasn't as much anymore. Same thing with like Palm Springs. Now you have the Rancho Mirage High School, Cat City. It's kind of like it dilutes the talent levels. Like the Valley used to be a big powerhouse, like with those teams and shit. So, well, anyway, I went to Indio. We sucked. Like it was. We fucking won like 2 games and shit. And then I went to COD, bro. Like it was crazy because I didn't even expect to play. I wasn't even planning on playing. I just showed up because my friend, who also, the dude that's helping me like deliver and pick up trash and shit.
Oh really?
Yeah, I played football with him in high school. So I went with him. He's like, "Hey, I'm gonna try out for the COD. You want to go? Like I don't want to go by myself." And I was already working out because we had just graduated, and I was always working out because I just like working out and shit. So I was like, "Yeah, I'm down to just go to tryouts." And then, like, dude, it was, like, nothing but, like, big old 6'5", like, offensive lineman that first year I played was, like, the average was, like, 6'4". Like, it was, like, a college offensive lineman, bro. Our left tackle was 6'9". Our left guard was, like, 6'5", like, 360 pounds. Our center was, like, 400 pounds, like, 6'6". Our right guard was, like, 6'4", like, 350. And then our right tackle was the smallest guy. He was, like, 6'3", like, 275, like, solid. Like, it was just 5 big old dudes. Like they were actually ranked in California, one of the top. We had the number 1 running game in California, and almost I don't know if the nation, but in California for sure. And we ended up going to a bowl game. I actually got to play in the bowl game because I was the 6th man. So we had those 5 big dudes, and I was the one at practice who, whenever someone got hurt, I would go in, and every position except tackle, so guard, center, or guard. If any of those fools were hurt, so during the week I would practice with the first team, and then I would go in the game sometimes whenever they were hurt. So we got to play the bowl game in Ventura, Ventura City College, right off the beach, bro, in December. It was fucking cold, bro. Like we get the water, the breeze from
the ocean breeze.
We lost 17-16 because our kicker missed an extra point. We lost by 1 point. He missed an extra.
They got to do something about that, man. Games being decided by a fucking kicker. I'm tired of watching that shit.
So yeah, the first year. So anyway, we had 11 guys from that team. Like it was a badass team, bro. Like the talent was.
Was that it? What happened the next year?
We still did okay, but we didn't really have a quarterback after that year. So that first year, the 11 guys went D1. They got D1 scholarship.
wow.
We had a dude that went to Arizona State. He actually, his name's Jacob Sheffield. He was a Marine. He served in Iraq and shit, and then he came to COD after. He was like 26, 27. He was an older guy. So everyone there was like 20, 18, 19. Like literally a Marine veteran and shit. And then he went to Arizona State, and he was always he was a defensive lineman, and he would every time Arizona State would play, he'd come out with the flag. He'll lead the team with the flag and shit. he was like a big deal over there because they're really, I mean, he's a veteran and stuff. He went to Arizona State. We had some guy who went to NC State, and his highlights, he's sacking Jameis Winston and shit because he played against Jameis Winston. Like, he was a linebacker from 29 Palms. Kate Cowan. And then we had another dude who went to University of Utah, Arizona, Oregon State, Vanderbilt. This dude named Greg Lotta. He actually played in the Broncos. He was drafted the same year. He actually won a Super Bowl the year that the Broncos won the Super Bowl. He got drafted that year.
Wow.
He's actually from Palm Desert. And that fool had never played football until COD. So he was a basketball player. He was like 6'6", super athletic. He would go to all the workouts, like over there by like Del's Flooring. There's like a sports kinetics place.
Yeah.
He was like a super athlete. And he was trying out for the basketball team. The football coach saw him like, you got to come play football, bro. Like, he's never played football in his life. He played 2 years of COD. He got a full right to Vanderbilt, and then he made the NFL. And he won a Super Bowl the first year.
Fucking one coach poaches him from basketball. Changes his path completely.
Yeah, like that fool, he also played. It was just like so much talent, bro. And I didn't know that COD that had kind of talent, because I swear maybe 10 or 11 of us were local Valley kids that played at COD. The rest, 60-plus guys, they're Florida, Alaska, Colorado, Utah, Texas, like people from like that didn't make D1s. They go to play community college, and California has such a big community college like pool of talent. So there's like second chance, like D1 talent that just didn't have grades or they got in trouble in high school. Like,
wow.
All these like badass.
Sounds
dudes.
like just a team of monsters. Dude,
Dude,
that's crazy.
it was insane, bro. And I didn't know that shit was. So I was like,
You just go into it blind.
It was dope. Coming from like I said, we play like here in the desert. The quality, like level of competition here is pretty low, but these guys were like all kinds. And then like some other high schools, like they were like either like state champions and all these badass dudes. They had like 5 dudes from Alaska coming all the way to the desert just to play football. That's where all those offensive linemen were like 6'5" Alaskan dudes, like just straight fucking beasts. Like those ones didn't even go in the gym and work out. They were just super strong, like just natural.
Just
strong.
natural.
That's pretty cool. And I got to meet people from all over. It was like a pretty cool experience.
That's awesome. Yeah. That'd be cool to share that with Oscar. I'm going to get him on this thing. That's my next move for you.
No, for sure. So one more time, let's give a shout out to the sponsors.
So yeah, Team Mad Viking. Definitely go check them out. I know we talked about the Nottingham wine. Local sponsors. Got to get my boy Fernando. You met Fernando, tattoo shop, Picasso Tattoo on 111.
Oh yeah, I did the video for that film.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So he's come in. He's a sponsor. He's gonna go to the race with us. That'll be really cool.
Oh yeah, I saw on the website that they're sponsoring.
Yeah, he's always. I mean, I'm a part of that shop with him. Yeah. So it's cool to just kind of have your whole team involved. And we actually got him involved with a pro racer that's gonna race this September. The outdoor national series right now, Colby Kopp. He's going to race, he raced already. He's already raced a handful of these, but we sponsored him for the next race this September at Paula Raceway.
Okay.
So Picasso Tattoo will be on that bike as well.
So how much is it to get on a sponsorship? So what are your, if I wanted to sponsor your race, what would it be? Whatever
you can contribute. We're just, it's hard to justify to the wives that we're going to spend all this money and go racing, especially when you got kids. So it's like whatever companies are willing to come in with, like a lot of these are incentive-based. So that's why we have the code for Nottingham or Mad Viking. We'll get a kickback on sales or something like that. Or my buddy Larry Gulo, Cal North Construction, he sponsored us. He came in with some money. And our guy Daltal, Mario's taking care of the hotel rooms.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So Daltal right here in Palm Desert. Well, Mario's been to these races. He's been to the Mint a couple times already.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and all the ones that are around here, like they do the Jeep run and all that stuff. He's a part of all that. So I think that's it as far as sponsors that I wanted to bring up. Del's Flooring will obviously be involved. And I think Oscar, he doesn't know this is coming yet, but he'll probably be involved.
That's cool.
But yeah, I think is that it. Yeah. I gotta shout out my wife and my kids. That's about it. Because I'm gonna make them watch this. So.
Learn about you and shit. No, that's cool though. No, like that. I didn't even know that you did some of these things. But that's why I like podcasts, because you get to do, or like you said, you didn't know I coach football. I've done other things.
Yeah, dude, I've been working with you. Again, what this guy does in the tile world needs to be recognized. I mean, you fucking bailed me out of that casino. I feel like you and me have been through a war together.
Oh, that was an experience every day, 3 months.
Every time I drive by it, I'm like, oh, I remember that, man. Every day, 3 months from 5 to 5. Me and this guy were in the trenches.
It's like those. Do you ever see that meme where there's like an old dog and his eyes look all shocked, and then they like zoom into his face, and then they start playing like war flashbacks.
Dude, PTSD for sure, dude. I'm getting it on this fucking San Manuel job. I feel it, man. Let's put it that way. But yeah, that's it's really cool, man. I appreciate you doing this.
Okay, for sure. Yeah, we'll put all the links in the description for Mad Viking, the Nottingham link. So you got people, if you're listening, you guys could do some help out the
team, be a part of something cool, man. If anybody wants to
for the documentary, and then you guys want to sponsor, I'll put the link into the website so you guys could go check out the website, see if they're interested in sponsoring too.
Cool. Right on, buddy.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.